Welcome to Smart Branding, a podcast dedicated to branding, naming, and domain names. I'm Tatiana Bonneau, and with my guests, we try to help you create and grow strong, memorable, and meaningful brands online. I believe time is one of our most precious assets, and so I want to thank you in advance if you decide to spend the next 30 minutes with us. I promise to do my best to make those worth it. Let's go!
So yeah, tell me about you. What do you do at Robosoft?
Yeah. So just before what I do at Robosoft, I just talk about a few minutes on myself. I grew up in Bombay, Mumbai, which is India's commercial capital, and I come from a small village in south of India when my parents migrated to Bombay. And I'm an engineer, electronics engineer, and an MBA in technology management. I'm also a student of ontology. Ontology is a science of human being and human existence. So I love understanding humans. So that's why I keep asking a lot of questions to people who might interact.
How does that affect your business? Do you think that helps you generally?
Yeah, we're in the people business, right? And both professionally and personally, it's all about people. I lead a team of around 1,100 people. So, and we are in the services business. So, motivating, leading, giving them a purpose, and interacting with them, and understanding their point of view, building those relationships and those emotional connects becomes very important. And as human beings, we're not trained to. We're always trained to understand our own perspective and not trained to understand the other's perspective. And if I can do that in whatever better way I can, I think taking the team along and with a common purpose, and a shared vision makes it a bit easier. And so at the age of 26, I was introduced to this concept. It's an American company called Landmark Education. They're present in France also, they're present in India, and globally. So there's a curriculum for living. Why do we behave the way we behave? Why do we react the way we react? We are driven from the past. How do we create a future from the future and not from the past? So when I have we already have some prejudice about how a boss is, or how a Indian is, or how an American is, or how a French is. We come with these filters, and can I look at somebody by dropping these filters and look and really listening to what the other person is saying rather than listening through the filters. So it's a difficult task. So that
I can imagine.
It helps me build relationships. So I've been in the IT and the consulting field mostly, and my first job was selling solutions. It was computer-aided design and CAD/CAM solutions in Bombay. It was an American company called Intergraph. Then I did my MBA, and I worked with one of the largest IT companies called TCS, Tata Consultancy Services. The Tata Group is a big group in India.
Yeah.
And
I think globally,
you
struggle to find somebody who doesn't know them.
That's correct. Yeah. So I was working with them, and then we came out. Some of us came out and created a company near Bombay. There's a city called Pune, sometimes called the Oxford of the East. There are a lot of universities around, and we created a company called Nihilant, and nihil in Latin means nothing. So I was heading the change management practice, change management consulting, helping organizations change, and the philosophy was that we can change is only possible when we can ground ourselves to a state of zeroness or nothingness. When you become nothing, everything becomes a possibility. So that was philosophy of nihilant, and nihil in Latin meant nothing. So but if you are only changing from where you are, then you can only incrementally change, and in the past is still defining how it should be. But if you're grounding yourselves to zero, then a new possibility is created. So that was the philosophy. I was there for 17 years as part of the enterprise transformation and change management group. Then I got headhunted by a search firm called Spencer Stewart to, they were finding a CEO for Robosoft. And Robosoft is a 25-year-old company, and founders had started this company 25 years back. They had private equity investment, but they were realizing that they need a professional CEO to come in and grow the company. So I joined them end of 2017. And so Robosoft is headquartered in a small temple town, beach town called Udupi, Udupi. It's in south of India. It's a very, very small town, tier 4 town, but surrounded by good universities, nice food, nice, a lot of universities, temples, mosques, churches, great work-life balance. And it has become a big case study in the last few weeks when Robosoft got sold to a Japanese company called TechnoPro. And the whole news was about how a small town company can create a global organization. And Robosoft had a special relationship with, still has a special relationship with Apple. So back in '96, when Robosoft was created, everyone had Intel, Microsoft Intel machines, but Apple was still the design standard, but not a mass product yet. But Robosoft founders, they bet on Apple and did a lot of work on Apple games, applications, device drivers, and did a lot of work. And then when Steve Jobs launched iPhone, our founders were there in Cupertino, California, for the launch of iPhone. And the first 500 apps, out of the first 500 apps that went on the App Store, 5 were done by Robosoft, because Apple used to give their software much in advance before the commercial launch, and we could play with it and create applications. Same as with Apple Watch and iPad, everything we got it first because of that special relationship. And Apple used to refer Robosoft to a lot of their clients. And that's how the special Apple relationship. And then in 2007, we became a mobile app development company because CIOs talked about mobile first, and everyone wanted to be on mobile. All startups and entrepreneurs said smartphones. And of course, beyond Apple, there was that time there was BlackBerry and Symbian and Android. And now, of course, iOS and Android are the most popular mobile platforms. And in 2017, I joined, and I came from a consulting background. So we already had the technology capability, we had the design capability. So also very important is when you're developing something for such a small device, it has to be very simple. It has to be very user-friendly. And design plays an important role. And engineers like me, we're not good at user design. We're good at technical design, but understanding from a user's perspective how easy it is. For me, it was a bit easy because I had learned human understanding and philosophy. But design people, how do you make it simple? How do you design for everybody and not just for a few? How do you design for a blind person? How do you design for differently abled people? So we had the UX, user experience, and user interface design capability. And then I added the consulting capability. We use a technique, Tatiana, called design thinking. Design thinking is not just about creativity, it's about empathy. How do I empathize with the end user, who's the user of the platform that I'm building? And how do I go to that person and listen to that person, listen to his or her stories, and get some insights and latent, which can then become the differentiator of the product that I'm building and solve a particular problem for those particular users. So we help, although we are a business-to-business services company, we build platforms for digital platforms, online platforms for McDonald's, for ESPN.
Hello.
for various brands. Yeah, can you hear me?
Sorry. Yeah, I just lost you there for a second.
Yeah. Is it okay
Hi,
now?
back. Yeah.
Yeah, is it okay? Yeah.
Yeah.
So we work with 2,000 plus brands, Walmart and McDonald's and Delta Airlines, ESPN, banks, Franklin Templeton, retail and e-commerce companies. So helping them understand what should be the features and functionality of the product, designing for that, and then building the technology, and then putting it up in production on the App Store. So we call ourselves a full service digital transformation company, and we've got offices in India, as I said, headquartered in Udupi, and other offices in Bombay and Bangalore. And in the US, we are in San Francisco, and in Japan, we are in Tokyo. So we are 1,100 people, and our purpose, Tatiana, is that we believe that we are simplifying every life on earth. Our purpose is simplifying lives. That means we are simplifying the way people buy online, the way people transact online, the way people bank online, get entertained, pay, and so anything that be done online, we believe that we are simplifying that task or that life, so that they can do things sitting on their couch while traveling in their cars or working from their offices. They don't need to stand in queues and sweat themselves. So
it's simplifying and improving, I would say. Yeah, that's exactly what you say. And you mentioned you are B2B, but ultimately, even in that case, your end user, the people that are going to end up using that technology, are people, are humans.
That's great.
Yeah. That's
so
very cool.
Correct. So I've spent 4 years now in Robosoft, and with the TechnoPro acquisition, with the Japanese acquisition, we've got another 5-year business plan where we believe that we're going to become more global. We're going to add Japan as a huge market, and some of our folks, we are still, a lot of work gets done from India. So for us, the engineering work, and that might become more global by doing it more locally in the US, in Japan, and in Europe. We've got customers in France too. So in Spain and France, I've never been there, but Adcop is one of the big clients that we have, and they are a big staffing company, I think headquartered in France or Switzerland. And so growth and simplifying people's online tasks is what we do.
That's great. And do you have any idea, because you mentioned you came around about 4 years ago, how did the name Robosoft come along?
Yeah. I mean, these names, there are interesting ways of coming up with these names. A lot of people think Robosoft means we are in the robotics business. We build robots. Okay, so that's not true. We build digital platforms. So the founder person, the name of the founder, who's now exited, he's encashed, no longer with the company, but his name is Rohit Bhatt.
Okay.
And Ro comes from there, and I think he probably said Robosoft, and I think he socialized that with others, and they said Robosoft doesn't really sound good, make it Robosoft, and came Robosoft. And then the logo, also, you see, it's a small R. If you see the logo, it's a small R. Comes from Robosoft with Rohit R, but it's almost like flying, like a bird. And there's a red color to it. So I think there is some background to it. I might be totally wrong if I'm really representing it the way it was created. I think it was created by chance, and that's how. And we continue to keep that brand and keep that logo and the red color. It'll move on. So even with the TechnoPro integration, the brand will remain, and it's quite possible that TechnoPro is a $1.5 billion company. We are just a small $40 million company. but over a period of time, our brand is far more strong in the digital space. So we might list it separately as a separate entity and a bigger entity than TechnoPro.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
makes sense. You mentioned generally, literally, what you do is you help people in the digitalization process. And now with the pandemic, there has been a lot of, like, everybody is talking about acceleration of that process. And I've written an article about it, and it's literally on everybody's agenda to it's, I guess we suddenly don't have a choice. People that were thinking, or companies that were thinking, are made wait for it, or like it's not a priority now, or it's too hard to do. I read some report that was covering that, where entrepreneurs are talking about how quickly, sometimes like over months or even weeks, now they manage to react and improve, their online presence, incorporate online or digital into how they manage their staff, how they manage all of their operations. So all of that, and the obvious question is, why haven't you done this before, since it's easier, cheaper, more reliable? And the most common answers are, I didn't think it's a priority, or it was too hard to even look into changing some of those processes that have been like that since forever. So what are your thoughts on that? How, because obviously the pandemic has affected how people do business and how people live. I guess that's a two-level question. One is, how did it affect you as a company, your business, and how do you think it will continue to affect everybody in the after COVID world?
Yeah, great question, Tatiana. I think what the pandemic has done is that it has changed human behavior. So we could have done all this fast tracking of digital transformation and digital experiences as service providers, as product companies, which is going to impact human beings. But whether the world was ready, whether humans were ready to buy online, and some of us were, but with pandemic, we were forced to. I mean, in India, we were largely a cash economy. I mean, I used to take cash everywhere. Credit cards, etc., were not accepted everywhere except in good restaurants or good hotels or good grocery shops. But now I carry no cash. Google Pay or the equivalents of that in India, are even a small grocery shop. If I need to pay $1, he accepts Google Pay. So that was forced by the pandemic. Not that they had a choice, but they had forced by the pandemic. So I think the pandemic helped to fast track digital transformation in a way we couldn't have fast tracked on our own, because human behavior changed overnight, and it's difficult to change human behavior. And some of the leaders can. So Steve Jobs can, or a Google can lead and change human behavior through their products and technology, but not all of us can. So that's why I think we were slow. Most of our customers were slow in accepting digital transformation in their own companies, but now they have no choice. Now, how it has impacted us is that now everyone wants to be on digital. Everyone says that, hey, I need McDonald's online. People need to buy burgers online. People need to buy clothes online. People need to get their food deliveries. I cannot go to a restaurant, so the person has to come to me and deliver food. So everything had to be done online, and we were flooded with projects. And today we are at a stage where we have to choose which projects we are able to do, because there's a huge demand for digital and talent, and the supply of digital and talent is not so much. And I have to really, I mean, these people have their salaries have grown 2x or 3x, 3 times than what I used to pay earlier. So the customer, so everyone's priority is digital, and fortunately being in the space in what we are, our business really was impacted hugely and positively, and a lot of businesses went south and didn't do well. But banks, media companies. I mean, we have done a platform, and you should download it. It's in Europe also. It's called Discovery Plus. So all the content on Discovery channels, Animal Planet, Discovery, Food Network, Travel Network. So we've created a Netflix equivalent platform for Discovery to have all their content on that app. So the way we've stopped going to theaters, we watch everything online. We have stopped going to restaurants and grocery shops. We're buying online. We have stopped going to banks. We are doing banking online. So I think that has positively, hugely helped our company. We've grown twice in just 1 year. We were just 500 people, and now we are 1,100 people. So I foresee that it's going to continue because it's changed our behavior. We are all working from home, Tatiana. I used to have struggle in my office to create policies where people said, hey, I want to work from home. Can I get a day working from home in a month? And we were, our mindsets were stuck that, I have to see the people whom I'm working with. Otherwise, I don't trust them. They will not work. They will skip work. But COVID has proved that by working from home, we were forced to work from home. Productivity has improved. Work-life balance has improved. They don't need to travel in Bombay and Bangalore, where it takes 1.5 hours to travel one way and 1.5 hours to travel back home. 3 hours of waste of time. Can that 3 hours, I can spend time with my family, or I can do my hobbies, or I can work more if I am passionate about my work. So we've given 3 hours of time to our employees who can decide how they want to use that particular time. So post-COVID, when things are going to open up, we don't foresee that everyone is going to come back to office 100%. So our research and our feedback from employees say that if in a week, 5 days of work, maybe 2 days we want to come to office and 3 days at home. So it's a 60-40%, 60% from home, 40%. People are, of course, still missing coming to office because they want to meet.
There's the social factor,
They want to gossip, right? About their boss and about.
Who are you going to complain about? Your husband and your kids? I mean.
Correct. So they want to come to office, but some people want 100% from home. I mean, some people want to come to office. Some people say, hey, I've got my grandparents and my in-laws and my children. They don't let me work. I want to go to office. So some people want to come to office 100% of the time. So we are quite flexible. So I think the COVID has helped in creating flexible policies, more employee-friendly policies, and digital becomes the norm globally as well as in India.
Yeah, definitely the case. You mentioned feedback from your employees, so that's I think a very important thing to not just pass by. The fact that you do ask them and you do talk. It's not just coming, okay, that's the decision. That's something. Is that something that you've always done, or did that as well come with the pandemic?
No, we try to, Tatiana. I mean, as I said, when I interact with humans, I want to understand and listen and get their perspective on things. I might not be able to accept everything what they say because there is a organizational perspective, there's an employee perspective. So I'm very pro-employee. I'm like speaking to them every quarter using town halls. My leadership meetings happen every month. So there is both formal feedback and informal feedback that I take. So my decision making is also such that, I don't decide by myself. I have so many people whom I interact with and get feedback before improving a policy, deciding on a policy. So yeah, it's not just during COVID that we've taken employee feedback, but we've been, a lot of people are saying change our bank account because a salary account, because the bank that we are working with is a public sector government owned bank, very slow, very bad on technology. Can we get to a foreign bank or a privately owned bank who can give us a better service? So I think we are changing that too. So I think a lot of changes are happening with Robosoft.
That's great. And I don't want to hold you too long. I guess the last question would be, now that you've got acquired, what's next? What's next for Robosoft?
Yeah, big things. We have got a 5-year plan. the company that acquired us, Tatiana, is a staffing company. So what they do is they provide engineers to their customers. Their customers are largely in manufacturing and automotive in Japan. So Toyota, Nissan, Mitsubishi are their customers, and they provide engineers to them. Although we have engineers, we don't provide engineers, we provide solutions solved by our engineers. So we are a solutioning company and they are a staffing company. So they have a vision to transform themselves from a staffing to a solutioning company. They've got 20,000 engineers. I only have 1,000 engineers, but they look towards Robosoft to guide them and give them a framework and a methodology of how to transform from a staffing to a solutioning company. Because staffing company, is a commoditized business. Providing engineers, margins that you make is low. But if you're solving problems, if you're adding value, then your operating margins are quite higher and customers ready to pay a premium for that. So our next 5 years is focusing on growing into $1 billion solutioning company, becoming more global. Some of ours, including myself, we might shift to the US because US is a big market for us, and creating local capabilities and skills in the US. And so US and Japan become most important markets for us from a customer perspective. And then once we are fairly growing and successful in these markets, UK is also UK and Europe are important markets for us. So that's plan 2. So that's going to happen in the next 2 years, but immediately US and Japan are big. So so huge growth, and because as you rightly mentioned, because of COVID and pandemic, everyone is talking digital. So if we don't take advantage of the opportunities that are available in the next 1 year, 2 year, 3 years, that will be not good. I mean, and we are expanding ourselves to take advantage of this growth.
You're going to be very busy. That's a good thing. Okay, can I just ask one more question? I just thought of it because you keep talking about the type of clients you work with, and I'm sure from our audience, like not everybody is McDonald's. Like what does a business, what size or what type of business does one have to be able to work with you?
Good question, Tatiana, because while I talked about big companies who are transforming themselves in the digital space, we work with a lot of startups. So today, I mean, there's a big startup in India. It's called Paytm. Today, it's valued at almost $10 billion, and they're going IPO. And we started work with them when they were nothing. They were like, I have an idea. The entrepreneur said, I have an idea. And the idea was that we want to do peer-to-peer payment. If I want to pay $10 to Tatiana, can I do it through my mobile? That was like 10 years back. And that was the idea. Built that. And of course, we charge for the work that we did. But today, they have become what they call themselves as a super app. That means you don't do just payments on it. You do e-commerce, you do banking, you do ride sharing, you can do everything. It's like a super app. That has happened over a period of time. But we were involved when they were almost like $0. And today they're at a $10 billion valuation. So we work with entrepreneurs who have an idea, who believe that this idea is going to grow big. Some will, of course, grow big, some might not. But we work with them to take them to a certain stage where then they can take that to VCs and private equities and get some Series A, Series B, Series C funding, which they can use for building more technology and more platforms and using it for digital marketing. So our customers are both startup entrepreneurs who are bootstrapping and probably have Series A, Series B funding. At the same time, enterprises who believe they're losing out to these new age startups. And if they don't transform themselves to becoming more agile and more digital, so we've got both type of customers.
Yeah. So if I sum it up correctly, I guess the vision is a keyword from what you said. Like, yes. I mean, even if they have an idea, it has to be the sort of idea that would warrant that growth and that reinvestment and development. Yeah.
Have they found an opportunity where they're solving a problem at scale? So they believe that they can solve millions of lives problems because of one opportunity that they saw. I mean, like we are taking an example of a company in India which is saying that they're going to revolutionize the laundry business. So they'll come pick up laundry from my home, they will get it ironed, washed, dry cleaned, etc. Earlier I had to go to my next door laundry shop, maybe a few meters or kilometers or miles away, but now they're saying they'll all do it digitally. So they'll come and pick it up and they'll go and do this. It's a small idea, but India, but a huge opportunity if they can do it at scale.
Absolutely. That's a good idea. It sounds simple, but immediately like, that's and would also make more people do it, because you're looking at what is the market of people using that service now, but it's limited to the people that can be bothered, or there is something close enough and they have the time, etc., etc. So not a bad idea. Cool. All right. Well, I'm gonna let you go. That's been an absolute pleasure. I think we've discussed a lot of very interesting and valuable information that our audience would benefit from. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us in this episode of Smart Branding Podcast. Feel free to visit smartbranding.com for more information and reach out if you have any suggestions, questions, ideas, or just want to learn more about how a good domain name strategy can help you build a strong and successful brand. See you next time.